Good evening, everyone, and welcome as we join you on Daily Mirror. It's a wonderful evening. Hopefully, you're at home, safe and sound, and ready to sort of settle in for our new Fridays, right? That we are getting used to. These are the new Fridays that we need to get used to. So today is a very special show on Date with Danu. We normally do it now on the days that we know you're not going to be too busy. It's going to be a weekend tomorrow so that you could enjoy it or watch it. It's pointless doing it on days when everyone is just rushing to their normal duties. So today on the show, I have someone who is remarkable. He is world recognized, and I'm just so excited to have him on the show. Before I get to all of that, I would like to thank those who make this a show, that is Date with Danu, possible. Our friends who have joined us from Movenpick Hotel, Jonathan Studios, our friends from British Cosmetics, Vikramarachi Opticians, and not forgetting Man in Checks. All right, with me on the show, I have someone who has a remarkable voice. His contribution to the world of fashion has been internationally recognized, and with the ever so stylish Prasad Bidapa. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Danu. Always great to have anything to do with Sri Lanka.
Yes, and Prasad, you're one of the most heavily featured Indian faces on all our high Daily Miller platforms. You're very constant.
Very
So,
glad. Honored
yes.
to be there.
So Prasad, tell me now, for those who are watching and who may not know you, Prasad is in and out of Sri Lanka with the Colombo Fashion Week. He has choreographed multiple shows, not only here, across the world. You have created not only models, you have created title holders, beauty queens, top models, international models, and so on. So to start things off, let's go back in time. Tell me about this Prasad who was growing up.
When I was growing up, my dad was in the Air Force.
Okay.
And my parents were transferred all over the country. So we traveled all around India, being posted to different places. Both my parents were rather fashionable people. My mother especially, she loved reading Vogue and all the foreign magazines that came in like almost a year late into the country. So we were
Of
always a
course.
year behind fashion, but we were trying to figure out what happened everywhere. So finally, I came to Bangalore to finish my studies and then went to Ahmedabad to study design. And from there, I came back to Bangalore and started an ad agency. But then we started specializing in fashion and lifestyle sort of thing, restaurants and hotels. And I ran an ad agency for a long time. And then the events started becoming much bigger. And then I became one of the first people in India to go into events.
Right.
Started doing shows all over the country and soon all over the world. And it was such an exciting time. And it was in the late 90s that Manoviraj Khosla, the designer, was invited to Colombo to do a show. And we all came along with him, the models, and we met Ajay Singh, who was instrumental in my connection to Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And he told me that he was very keen on starting Colombo Fashion Week, and which is the 17th or 18th edition this year.
Of course.
I've been part of the Sri Lankan fashion scene for a long time, and I've just learned so much from Sri Lanka and had the good fortune to interact with the design community in Sri Lanka, not just in fashion design, but also in furniture and product and art and so many things. I have such good friends all over Sri Lanka, and it's, to me, my second home. I mean, you got that absolutely right. In fact, Judy and I often think of, my wife and I think of retiring to Sri Lanka, and saying we would love
but
to
your
live
home
there
is
to retire.
Yeah, but your home is absolutely beautiful. I've had the privilege of going to Prasad's house in Bangalore because my favorite part of India is Bangalore. I think it's the most homely, friendly, such a warm city. I really love it. So I've been to his house and it's absolutely gorgeous. His dogs, all of them have their own personalities. Bit of a dramatic lot, I must say. But very Sri Lankan the house is. So if you move here, you can just move all your Indian furniture which looks Sri Lankan. All right.
Just get lots more new stuff.
That is true. That's an option. So, so we are talking to Prasad, and how has his lockdown treated you? Because you had caught a flight and came to Sri Lanka to choreograph the show and to sort of produce it, and then you flew back. How was it? How was this whole
Well, we all
Corona
were there,
time
the
for you?
entire production had flown in, and Ajay and I were discussing it before, and we decided to take a chance because India was in the process of locking down, but had announced
Yes.
nothing. Sri Lanka had announced absolutely nothing. So we said, anyway, now we've set the dates, the sponsors are ready, the designers were ready with their beautiful collection. So we landed up in Colombo and went through all our production meetings. We met some of the designers when we had that lovely party that evening.
Yeah.
And then the very next day on Saturday, they announced the close down. And
Yes.
we were unable to get back on Saturday or on Sunday. But Sunday late night at 1 in the morning of Monday morning, that is, there was one flight back on Sri Lankan Airlines. And Ajay managed to get us back onto that flight, and Fazina booked our tickets
Hmm.
and said, okay, you're confirmed. And we came back to India and had to go straight into quarantine.
Oh, wow.
And then
And for
India
how
went
long?
into lockdown a week after that. I've been in quarantine since the middle of March. From the time we came back on the 30th of March, we've just been in quarantine. The summer's gone. I mean, it's a lost year, you know. I
I
was just
know.
thinking that the entire season we lost because in Colombo, the designers were ready with their collections. And
Of
this year was
course.
very special. You know, year after year, the Sri Lankan designers have just been, at the top of their game. And this year, especially, I thought that everything had come together so beautifully. And I've
And
been
with such a
working with
great
designers
concept.
like Yolande and Darshi and all right from the beginning. And they've all been doing such wonderful work. And Ajay was ready with fabulous settings at the Shangri-La, at the Hilton. It was just something that was ready to roll. And at the last minute to
Of
call it
course.
off was such a bitter disappointment, really. And then we came
Of
back to
course.
India to find that a lot of the designers here were in the same boat, unable to show their new collection. They had produced everything, quantities still lying in the warehouses, unable to sell because the shops are not open, the malls are closed, the designer stores are closed. So it's really been very difficult for the design and fashion industry, I think, more so than for
Yeah.
anybody else. Because we can't work from home, so that's a
Of
problem.
course. That is true. At least all thanks to Instagram, at least I could do one part of my job.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your fashion contribution has been recognized globally. You have worked with some brilliant people, but Prasad is a very strict choreographer. He has a beautiful vision in his mind, and if that vision gets crippled, they get it. So, as much as you are as cool as a cucumber to approach and talk,
In a
when
funny
you are
way, I
doing your
think Sri Lanka.
choreography,
Well, now I'm in more of a position as a show director because we work with a myriad amount of
yeah,
choreographers. I come in with Aviva Bidapa, Noinika Chatterjee, Harry Dabas. They're all choreographing shows because Ajay is very particular about taking the shows to a higher standard year after year. So, in
yeah,
fact, it's for me much more challenging doing shows in Sri Lanka than it is in India. Because in India, the formats are pretty set, the fashion weeks are set,
uh,
they more or less do the same thing. But Sri Lanka likes a bit of spectacle, they like a wonderful presentation, they like unusual venues, and we have done some of the most beautiful venues in Sri Lanka over the years, from Gaul to Negombo to Colombo itself. I mean, we've had
yeah,
venues that have been mind blowing, really. In India, we are not that fortunate. We're normally
mm,
stuck in a five-star hotel or in an exhibition center. Nobody's going to take us to the beach,
yeah,
to a beautiful old fort like Gaul to do a show. So Sri Lanka actually has created some of the
yeah,
most picturesque shows in my career just because the venues have been so beautiful. Ajay's moved heaven and earth, gotten government permissions from sponsors, from everyone to get us these venues. And the
yeah,
challenge
true.
has been that we then have to create a setting, create something that is so beautiful, that matches the setting that we are putting together. And it's
Mm,
really been a great challenge. And I'm glad to say that we've had some great feedback on the work that we've done and, that what we've put together. So to me,
yeah.
Sri Lankan shows are really something that I absolutely enjoy doing.
That's amazing. Now, because you are so fond of Sri Lanka, you know everything, and you're such a perfectionist. Have you always been this way?
I think so because to survive in this business, and I've survived for the best part of 40 years. I'm in the fourth decade of my career, and I think the only way you can survive is by constantly reinventing yourself.
Hmm.
You've got to be able to always be a step ahead of the competition. You've got to
Yeah.
be able to deliver to the audience exactly, what they're expecting, if not more. And you've got to be presenting the designers at the very best. And we also train models. Some of the top models in the country have come out of our stable. I mean, even Jacqueline Fernandez from Sri Lanka, we first found her at the Colombo Fashion Week when she
Correct.
came in from Dubai to do shows. And she said to me, I'd like to come to India and try my luck there. And then she came to India and worked with us for 6 months in Bangalore and then moved to Bombay, and then there was no looking back. Till
Hmm.
today, she's doing such wonderful work and she's
Yeah.
become such a big star in this country. So I always encourage young Sri Lankans to say, India is your stage. Come to
Yeah.
India. You do well over here. Make that leap across the channel and come.
Yeah.
And
I know it's such a small leap as
Daniel,
well.
who was one of the top models in Sri Lanka. Daniel came and worked many seasons with us in India, and she
Of
had a
course.
great time over here. But it's
Yeah.
difficult to make a long time career, but at least come and do a season every year, a season every 2 years. So I really would encourage young Sri Lankan models to come into the Indian space and work with us because in
That's
India
amazing.
we think very highly of Sri Lanka, of Sri Lankan design, Sri Lankan models, Sri Lankan designers, Sri Lankan food, everything. I mean, it's really a favorite destination for many Indians who
Yeah.
love coming to
Especially
Sri
Bangalore.
Lanka.
Especially Bangalore flies
And
a lot
Bangalore
to
is
Sri Lanka.
just 15 minutes away from Colombo.
I know.
I mean, how close is that? That's closer than Bombay, much closer than Delhi.
Yeah.
I'd rather go to Colombo than anywhere else and travel around Sri Lanka.
That's amazing. Now, I heard a little story saying that Anushka Sharma was a model for you.
Yes.
Oh
Anushka
wow.
Sharma. Before her, there was Deepika Padukone. Before
Wow.
that, there was Lara Datta and Dino Moria and so many people. Anushka came to us as a young student. She must have been about 13 or 14 years old.
Uh,
Her dad was in the army and he was stationed here in Bangalore. And he brought her to me and he said, this girl is crazy about modeling.
uh,
Please look after her like your own daughter and help her with her career. And it was very easy because there was this tall, absolutely beautiful girl in front of me. She started modeling very small weekends, summer holidays, at times like that. And then when the time came flying to Bombay, she was doing the Latin Fashion Week, moving to do the Wills India Fashion Week. And then in a few months, she auditioned for a Shah Rukh Khan film. And she
hmm,
won the audition and she signed a movie called Rab Ne Bana Di Jodi. And there was no looking back. And Anushka is
right.
an exceptional girl. She's a very clever girl because she didn't take very long to start acting and then to open her own production unit. And today she produces some of the best films coming out of India. Netflix is one of her films. She does great work. And then, of course, she married India's sweetheart,
Of
Virat
course.
Kohli, the captain of the cricket team. And today they are considered to be India's top power couple.
Yeah,
So
of
just
course.
imagine how wonderful is that?
Yeah, and to look back at these stories of these are people who you have seen from like literally in their raw form, and to see them today doing so well, which is remarkable.
Yes. It's
Yeah,
my privilege really to have worked with them and to have some of the biggest names in India connected to my agency and, to have worked with them. It's just lovely. I love working with young people. I tend to learn a lot from young people. I think in many ways that keeps me fresh,
mm,
keeps me youthful. My daughter Aviva is someone who's in a way my biggest critic. She takes a look at a concept and she doesn't like it. She makes no bones about telling me that. And my wife Julie is another one who is my greatest critic. You're not going to get a good word out of her unless it is of exceptional quality.
I
So
can
they
easily
kept
I
me
can
very, very grounded.
yeah, Your daughter was going to also. She also has a stunning collection running. She showcased it last year at CFW here. Yeah.
That's right. She launched herself at Swim Week Colombo, and she's just had such a wonderful time. She's doing her third season.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this was the fourth season, and when we came to Colombo, she was supposed to order her new collection at Linea Aqua, and they are, of course, the world's best manufacturers of swimwear, and they've been doing such wonderful work, and her work is exceptional because of the effort that they put in. Ajay
Mm.
her to them, and then we encouraged her to become a designer in her own right. And she unfortunately missed the season because of the lockdown, but she's going
Yeah.
to be back next season stronger than ever. So
Brilliant.
this year she's on promotion in India.
Yeah.
We ordered her older collections in newer colors and newer patterns to make a new look happen. And she's
Yeah.
going to have a very big promotion next month. She launches her summer collection here.
Superb. But how have you been during lockdown? Like, what did you keep yourself busy with? Because all types of issues were discussed during this time. Because we were more worried about people's sanity. People who were like cramped up in little apartments found it very hard. How has this lockdown and what has this COVID-19 taught you?
Well, I think that in many ways, India has a large workforce who anyway worked from home because of the IT BT industry. So
Yeah.
a lot of them tend to work from home. So there wasn't that much of a difference in their lives. The difference was in not being able to meet your friends, in
Mm.
not being able to go out and see a movie, not being able to go to your favorite restaurant. I think
Yeah.
those were the challenges. But in many ways, for me especially, it was a period of rediscovery. I was able to rediscover books that I had been meaning to read for a
Mm.
long time. I was watching films that I had not had the time to watch before. And
Yeah.
in many ways, it was a freshening. It was a time of taking stock, of taking a step back and looking at our lives and seeing in which direction we were going. So we were determined to make the most of it, and we really wanted to do something,
Mm.
that was important and wonderful, and something really
Yeah.
different. And I think we managed that. And we managed to be in touch with our own colleagues at the
Yeah.
office. We were all on conference calls all the time, on Zoom chats and Instagram chats and Facebook chats, and keeping in touch with each other. And luckily, Bangalore sort of partially opened up this month.
Okay.
And for the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've been able to go into work in a very carefully protected environment.
Yeah.
A lot of social distancing happening, all of us masked, but all of us meeting each other for about an hour or two each day
Yeah.
and getting through projects, because now we realize that we have to get our shows onto the online space.
Of
We
course.
can't make
And it's a
it
newer
more
way
here.
of thinking now.
It's a
Yeah.
new way of doing, a new way of being.
True.
So we needed to plan that, and I'm very happy to say that by the first week of June, we launched the virtual runway.
Oh,
And the
wow.
virtual runway is going to be a beautiful uh, way of looking at fashion, of being
Yeah.
able to, show people the new collections brought in by the brands and designers. So I'm really looking forward to launching the virtual runway. I think on the 8th of June, because that's my birthday, so I want to launch it on that day.
Oh, that's amazing because it's more like when online started ruling lots of other things that we're doing today. Uh, it's literally like how telemarketing worked for many days. They showed multiple things and we did buy it, and this is just matter of we. But the beauty of fashion is the fact of you go, you see it, you experience that whole moment. But now we need to create a new format behind it. That's the only hitch. Tell me, out of so many people you have worked with and so many shows that you have done, tell me that one show that always stays in your mind, like a production that you really enjoyed.
One of my favorite destinations in Colombo is Negombo, in
Okay.
Sri Lanka, Negombo. And we did a show at Etwing on the beach, at the Lagos.
Yes.
And it was just the most sensationally beautiful show I ever sort of really did. With the sun setting in the lagoon, and we had all the catamarans parked behind the runway. and the runway was on the beach and people watching the show. You know, so many of the Sri Lankan shows have been visually stunning. The one at Gold Fort was another beauty, and even the ones we did recently at the port in
Yeah,
Colombo about 2
that was
years ago.
beautiful.
We Colombo at the port with all the ships sailing to China and to other destinations happening in the background. And in India, for me, the big shows have been at the Rajasthan Heritage Week, which we
Okay,
started about 5 years ago. And in
right.
Rajasthan, we do a fantastic program which is to encourage the local craft, the weaving, the printing, the dyeing of the state. Because Rajasthan is very, very rich in all this. And we were able to bring in designers from Sri Lanka like Dashkir Sena and Anika Fernando, Sonali. They all came and showed in Rajasthan too. And that was quite amazing because you see, in India, we have what we call khadi, which is the last of the handmade, hand-spun fabric.
Right.
And to me, this fabric is the true luxury of the world. You know, for me, it's not the big brands that come from Italy or from France or from anywhere like that, but it's the beautiful sari weaving that we do in India, the brocades of Benares, the kanjivarams, the patolas, the ikats of India. And, you know, in Rajasthan, we have a particularly fine sari called the Kota Toria, which is a combination of silk and a cotton yarn. And it's
Right.
woven with gold and silver thread to
Oh,
create the
wow.
most spectacular and beautiful patterns. So to me, this is the true luxury of the future. And we have been promoting this endlessly for the last few years. And the Rajasthan government gave us a very, very good contract to promote the handicraft and handwork of Rajasthan. And those shows have been very, very important for me because in many ways it established us as people who promoted art and craft. And to me, that's very important because I know that there is a place for man-made textiles in this world. We have to
Yeah.
make uniforms out of man-made textiles. We have to make firemen's uniforms and policemen's uniforms and airline uniforms. You need man-made textiles for that. You can always add a beautiful hand-woven scarf to it. And in Indian weddings, you see the best of Indian craft and
Of
textiles
course.
coming
It's so
together.
full of color.
Spectacular.
Yeah. So
It's
full of
something
color.
that is so unique. We are the
Yeah.
last country in the world to be producing handwork like this. We have designers like Abraham and Thakur, Rohit Bal, Rajesh Pratap Singh, Tarun Tehliani, Reena Singh. I mean, the list is endless of designers who work with this hand-spun, hand-woven fabric and are making international, sensational sort of statements with it. Last year, we went to Japan with the Khadi collection, which was promoted by Martan Singh. And we were invited by the Issei group to come into
Okay.
Japan. And they saw what we had brought with us. They were really blown away. Because the Japanese understand the beauty of the hand, you know, the handicraft. And they really appreciated the beauty of Khadi. And Issei Miyake was already working with a great textile designer from India called Asha Sarabhai. And he had a store called Heart. Heart in Hindi means the hand. And he
Okay.
had a shop in the main thoroughfares of Tokyo in one of the big shopping districts in the Ginza, selling Indian textiles. So I always tell young Indian designers, use Indian textiles, handmade textiles, use our beautiful techniques of embroidery, put it together and create a global product. You know, it's
Yeah, true.
something that nobody can copy. Because you know, when a designer works with textile that he has derived with a weaver or a printer or a dyer, nobody else has the same thing.
That is true.
Whereas
And
if you're
also
buying
that community
imported type,
remains.
if you're
And
buying
that
imported
community,
fabric from a
yeah,
store, 100 other designers can buy the same thing.
true.
But if you're working with handloom, I mean, in Sri Lanka has its own handloom,
Of
your
course.
beautiful Dobby weave that you make the lovely sarongs with. And I would encourage more craftsmanship in Sri Lanka. You know, like batik is such a beautiful, wonderful handwork that you'll do. Designers like Dakshi and Sonali and Yuland have taken it to a level of you know, it's exquisite. The other day, Shobha Day, who does a vlog every day in
Of
the
course.
evening, was wearing a beautiful black and white kaftan by Prasad, which he had bought over 15 years ago. And to see her wearing it and with such panache, you know, it was just made such a statement.
Of
And
course.
like that, I think Sri Lanka needs to develop, you know, the Bera lace that you all do
Of
and the
course.
other kind of handwork that you do needs to be shored up, needs to be encouraged a lot more and be brought into international kind of
Of
attention.
course. And
I
also, I
think
think
your fashion
internationally,
can take its place in anywhere in the world, you know, but it really needs to be promoted and pushed. Your designers need to create an international product with your local textiles and local techniques and really make a global product. And it's very possible. And I can tell you one thing, when Colombo Fashion Week started 18 years ago, what I saw then and what I see now, it's a sea change. I see designers year after year surpassing themselves, outdoing themselves and each other, and coming up with clothes that can walk the runway in any fashion capital of the
of
world.
course.
Because you see, Sri Lanka has a great design consciousness. You know, like I walk into a store like Paradise Road, you know, Shant Fernando's a great friend of mine. Half my house is furnished with
Yes.
the beautiful furniture and
Yeah.
textiles from Shant's store. His ceramics, even the dining table that I'm sitting at, it's a beautiful teakwood piece that Anika helped me buy. And you know, you have a design sensibility that is very refined and very fine. And I think in many ways, you are very much in advance of India, especially when it comes to your interiors and your architecture. Sri Lanka has managed to create a vernacular of architecture that is very particular to the nation. You know, you can look at a building and say, wow, that's Sri Lankan. In India, you can't do that. We have such a mishmash of styles and really ugly urban development, which is just awful. I can't bear it sometimes, you know. But in Sri Lanka, you'll have managed to keep a sort of a pure vision, you know, that goes forward in a very singular way. And I really admire that in Sri Lanka and Sri Lankans, the design sensibility that you'll have. And I see the jewelry that I work with, you know, from Colombo jewelry stores. We've always accessorized a lot of our work with the beautiful work from that store. And you know, every time I come, I see the designers making more and more accessories, making things that match their clothes, coming up with solutions that are absolutely fantastic. So I think that you need to keep it going. I mean, don't let COVID stop you. COVID can't
Of
stop
course.
anything. It gives us pause, you know, and maybe a little bit of rewind, but there's nothing to stop us going fast forward again when we come back out of the whole.
Yeah, well, I must say it's absolutely amazing the fact that in the past few years, a country where we used to shop internationally to wear nice clothes have made people shop within our country, which is remarkable. And I always say fashion has created more personalities in our country. It has created more people to come out, speak about their talent, and think of it even as a career option, which was a no-go at one time. And it's such an honor to see our country boom that way and internationally be recognized. Shobha Day was also once on a high cover, and you know, lots of people have become so part of because of fashion and sports, and you know, things that politics can never do. All the entertainment things can do. I always
Oh,
say,
yes, fashion created great celebrity, you know. And also, you have to remember that fashion is not given its due. I
yeah,
believe that fashion should be, I believe that fashion should be on par with music, literature, dance, theater. Fashion is the fifth sister of culture, you
yeah,
know. And if you look back at any given time in history, if I said, think about Marie Antoinette, or think about Cleopatra, or think about Sita in Sri Lanka, you're dressed in some particular
of
style
course,
fixes them in your mind. You think of Marie Antoinette, you think of those elaborate ball gowns, those great wigs that she wore. You
of
look at
course,
Cleopatra and you look at that wonderful jewelry that she wore. I mean, Sita most probably wore khadi when she came to Sri Lanka with
yeah,
Ravana.
of
So
course,
all this fashion establishes a point in time
Mm.
and gives you a sort of reading of where you were in that particular time, you know. Like when you look at your old pictures
Of
and, you know, like I
course.
look at myself in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, and I'm able to pinpoint the time because of what I'm wearing.
Wearing. And how the
Yeah,
trends have
it's
changed.
always a marker. So
Mm.
fashion has to be given a lot more respect than it normally gets. People see it as something frivolous. Parents say to their children, "Oh, why do you want to be a fashion designer?" But then, of course, you have to understand that it is a route to great wealth and great fame.
Of course.
There's
And
nothing to
great
stop
success.
a Sri Lankan designer. Look at that young boy who went to live in Amsterdam and started that wonderful label
Oh, of
called
course.
Fruit Supply.
Yeah.
He's Sri Lankan at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What is there to prevent any Sri Lankan from doing that? You can dominate the world, you can become a huge brand the world over. Today, you take young designers like Anika Fernando. She's creating a look that is international in its scope,
Mm.
you know. It can be worn anywhere in the world, it can be put together with accessories that come out of a store, you know, the at
Yeah.
PR in important place, I think it's in. And it works anywhere in the world. To me, Sri Lankan design, especially today, has begun to work internationally. I can
Yeah.
take one of, I mean, I have the beautiful kurta that she made for me.
Mm.
It's a beautiful sandalwood colored kurta with black batik motifs on it. And she gave it to me about 5 years ago. But I pull it out at least a half dozen times every year when I want to wear something special. You know,
Mm.
Yolandi has given me the most beautiful stoles and scarves. Sonali's given me stuff. Anika's given me stuff. I'm very lucky. I get wonderful people. So,
Oh,
want to
that's
say,
amazing.
so, so it's just lovely, you know, to be able to look at design that evolves from a country like Sri Lanka and creates a statement that's very singular, that does
Mm.
not have to copy what's happening in the West or copy what is happening in India. I really appreciate the fact that Sri Lankan fashion moves away from Indian fashion in many ways. Like you all
Of
don't
course.
follow the bridal thematic of India or do the Indian silhouette. You know, you have a very, even the way the sari is worn is very unique in Sri Lanka. And I don't mean just the Cantonese sari. I mean the regular sari, the way it's worn in Sri Lanka, the way it's patterned, the way it's batik. It's unique, you know.
Mm.
It's absolutely fantastic.
Amazing.
And I
Well,
think it's time for partnerships to happen between Indian and Sri Lankan designers to come out with, again, new variations of things. You know,
yeah.
like when the Sri Lankan designers came and worked with me in Rajasthan, they would choose fabric that they wanted to work with. They'd ship it back to Sri Lanka. Then they would treat it and dye it and batik it and embroider it and come back with the most amazing clothes that
Yeah.
everyone wanted to buy.
And
So I
and
really
in,
dream of the day that Sri Lankan designers will be available all across India. And I think that's going to happen very, very soon because Ajay is planning a project in which he will take a few designers from Sri Lanka and bring them into India in a phased manner. Unfortunately, COVID put a stop to this project, but I think we will resume it by September, October. And I hope by this Christmas and New Year, a lot of Sri Lankan designers are rocking India.
yeah, but at the same time, I think our history has always proven over the fact that, back in the days, our film industries were so interconnected, our advertising industries were interconnected, our radio was so well known in India. SLBC was the only radio that India knew.
Absolutely. I
So
grew up on Radio Ceylon. My
there
God.
you go. So
That,
we
that
had
was
had
like,
such we have had such great connections. It's all about just keeping the spark alive, I think. Prasad, it has been absolutely amazing having you. And believe it or not, this is the first time I'm having you on on a show. I've always wanted to record a show with you, but it's always a rush
I'm
when you're
so
here.
glad you invited me. Thank you for that. And thank you to the Daily Mirror also, because, you know, when I get onto a Sri Lankan flight out of Bangalore, the first thing I get is the newspaper Mirror. I can
Yeah,
catch up with what's happening in Colombo. And I love the
yes,
layout of the paper and the way it looks and so
definitely.
smart. Thank you very
It's
much for having me on your
Oh,
program.
it's absolutely a pleasure, Prasad. You're wonderful. You are so full of life and so full of knowledge. You have created so many people, and this is just it's just the beginning to many more faces to be globally recognized through you and through all the work that you do. Thank you so very much, Prasad. It has been
Thank
absolutely
you, Danu, and
amazing.
I'm looking forward to having you in India as soon as possible.
Yes, my
You
Kurta
must get
stock
there.
is over. My Kurta stock is over. I'm
Let's
coming.
plan that quickly.
Yeah. You have yourself a wonderful day, Prasad. Good night.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much.
Bye. So that's
Bye.
Prasad joining us today on Date with Danu, a very special edition coming all the way from Bangalore, India. We're going to see you on Sunday. It's going to be a very different take to the show. We're going to speak about younger designers, younger entrepreneurs, not designers, entrepreneurs and change makers of our country who have gone out there and created a very important message come alive. What is this? What is the whole purpose of promoting unity when we cannot practice it? But we're going to talk a little bit more about it and create more awareness. Thank you so very much for joining me today. Have yourself a wonderful Friday. Enjoy your Saturday. I shall see you with a lockdown Sunday and our special edition to Date with Danu. Have yourself a brilliant day. Take care.